All right, hello all. Welcome back to the Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video here. So we have something a little interesting, a little fun here. At least I think so. Because I've never done one of these, at least for Dokkan. I did do one for the end of the Gekishin Squadra beta. But obviously what we have here is a tier list. And once again, I haven't done one of these for Dokkan before. Now, I have been making content on Dokkan for a little over a year at this point, but I've been playing for roughly like 7 years, right? So I already understand the game very well. I do, have my preferences with certain mechanics and such, right? And another sort of, these are sort of biases I'm pointing out. I am free to play. There was a time it was 2023, where I did spend a decent bit, but besides that year and like that year alone, I've been free to play with Dokkan pretty much the entire time I've played it. Through the like Google weekly reward thing or the Google opinion rewards, right? You'll get some free points, free money, whatever. I'll buy a little stone pack here or there, or the monthly subscription thing when I can with free money. But I actually haven't spent money on this game in quite a while, like actual real money. So I'm free to play. And that being said, I mean, obviously as a free to play character, only so many stones you can get, which means there are a lot of characters that I either do not have, or a lot of characters that I have that are 55%, maybe like a dupe. The only sort of characters that are going to be viewed like Rainbow are those that this is my experience, my top 15, right? So I can only speak from how it is for me. And I'm not going to take this too seriously. I mean, I think I like this sort of top 15 right now. I mean, I'm not like 100% on like, if you want to say one slot go over the other, or one character go over the other within 2 slots, like I don't really care. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But pretty much, I did want to do this. This is GDC, the first one, 2025. It is actually July 16th right now. We do actually have the details for LR Fusion Zamasu, but he's not out in game, so I'm not going to include him here. Obviously, I do want to try him out before I have any viewing on him. I don't use the private server or anything like that. And then I'll update this again with part 2. I'm probably only going to do something like this tier list wise for like major celebrations. Once again, I'm free to play. That's most likely when I'm going to be acquiring the most new characters. Now, I do also want to say this. The way I'm sort of evaluating characters for me is like this for event-wise. So I care the least about Festival of Battles, and I'll explain everything after. Then Red Zone, Battle Hard Formidable Foe, and then obviously the new hardest event in the game, and dare I say, the hardest fight in Dokkan history. It's at least top 3. I mean, if you want to say it's 1, 2, or 3, I wouldn't fight you on either. I was saying it was 3, but honestly, I'm at the point now with how my no item attempts are going, of saying it's just straight up the hardest fight in Dokkan history. At least for me. Once again, I can only speak from my experience. So starting with Festival of Battles, I don't like the event is kind of boring. It's just like sit there not really paying attention. Like I do the stacking videos, right? For example, Do you really think I'm staring at the screen nonstop for 3 hours straight, or however long it takes to get 100 turns into a fucking fight? You better bet that I'm not. I'll be playing some other game, watching a TV show, doing some fucking chores or some shit, right? I'm not. That's not fun. At least I like stacking characters. Stacking characters are one of my favorite things. But for me, that event just isn't the most fun. I do actually still need to clear it. I jumped in one time only, and I got to the Daima phase, and I died. And I think part of the why I don't really care too much about that event is it doesn't really seem too hard. You bring the best stacking characters in the game there, and you win. The only reason I lost is because, ding ding ding, I'm free to play. Uh, I have a lot of characters 55%, and that's genuinely what killed me. If I had some max level account, I easily would have passed that Daima phase. I suppose I can't speak for the next. I think it's 2 phases: Gogeta, Vegito. But yeah, I don't really care about Festival of Battles. I mean, it is a hard-ish fight, but I don't really. I mean, you just bring stacking characters in there after 3 hours, and then you finally get to some real stuff. But it's kind of boring. I don't really care for it. Next, we do a Red Zone. I don't think any of the Red Zones were too particularly difficult that we've gotten this year. I do think some of the mission-based content has been pretty fun, pretty difficult. But when you're bringing in the best of the best, newest whatever teams, I find that the red zones usually do go down fairly easily. It's once again more the mission-based content where you'll find difficulty there. But they do make for some good showcase fights, so I do like them. They're sort of difficult, but they're pretty manageable. Then we have Battle Hard and Formidable Foe. That event, I mean, there's 10 stages, right? I have found Battle Hard and Formidable Foe very fun. That I do like the sort of return to the SBR style. The debuffs actually being a thing again. Very cool. All of the bosses seem to. I mean, it's not like just the same fight over and over and over again. Like they do have their own sort of unique mechanics, right? So I mean, I think it's pretty challenging. I personally am someone who likes longer content, but I'm not going to let that bias me from saying I think Battle Hard and Formidable Foe is harder than Red Zone. And I actually usually do find it a decent bit more enjoyable than Red Zone, honestly, because I am also someone who does enjoy a bit of difficulty. And then finally, we do have the brand new event. Obviously, it's. I mean, if you've played it, if you watch people play it, you know how it goes. It's pretty rough. And once again, I like difficulty. It is a short fight, and it'll blow you away, right? So I'm still trying to get my no item win on it. But I've been trying a lot of teams in there, a lot of characters, and I do think, at least for me, that's the sort of order I'm going to evaluate these things in. The new hardest fight, Battle Hard and Formidable Foe stages, Red Zone stages, and then finally Festival of Stacking. All right, all that out of the way. I do have the sort of, all these characters pulled up. I'll go over them briefly when we have them pulled up. And also, once again, this is the top 15. I think top 10's kind of people just use it because viewers see top 10, they click. I don't really care about that. I think top 10's kind of redundant at this point in the game. There was a time where the top 10 in this game, it'd be like the top 6 were like really good, and then the bottom 4 characters were like, who sucks the least, right? We're not there anymore. I could honestly, make a top 20, 25 characters, maybe even 30, honestly. And they're all going to be at least usable, if not good, really good, great. So we're in a time in Dokkan history where I don't top 10 feels kind of redundant, so I'm doing top 15. But I do think it looks a little more clean this way, so I just have 11 through 15 on one slot. But that out of the way, let's jump in. A long intro out of the way. And here we go. All right. Starting off with 15, Gotenks. Gotenks is pretty interesting. Now, this is a character I do have 55%. I've had a lot of success with Gotenks. I did actually pick them up with the sort of the 10th anniversary. You pick whatever character you want. The Memorial Stone thing. And he's been a lot of fun. Oh wait, you know what? Actually, real quick, one more thing to say here. Actually, this is perfect to say right here. This. I really like this. Because I hate dodge. I'm getting to the point where I despise dodge, which there are some characters where it's like they're so good still, at least for me. Where even though they're dodge, I gotta acknowledge the strength. But I'm getting to the point, this last year or so of me, or half a year or whatever, of me playing Dokkan, I feel like all of my dodge characters just like got insanely shit. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just like a me thing or a lot of people have experienced it, but I've become a lot less reliant upon dodge as I was in the past. And it's not even like a dodge, fights having dodge canceling thing. Because I'm bringing, I don't bring the dodge characters into those fights. I'm bringing them into the fights where they can dodge and they're still not dodging. So it's gotten to the point where it's pretty frustrating using dodge characters for me. But it doesn't blind me from how good certain characters that have dodge are. But this, to me at least, feels like a really good sort of replacement. I mean, Gotenks is obviously better for shorter fights, which, once again, I do view the new fight and Battle Hardened Formidable Foe as the most sort of important fights. I think this guy's still good in Red Zone too. That can go pretty long, but I also find it to be usually pretty easy. So he performs well in pretty much all the content that matters to me. There is the Festival of Stacking, but once again, I don't really care about that event. It's, I don't know, they called it like the hardest event in Dokkan history, but to me it's just the longest event in Dokkan history. I really feel like if I had a full Rainbow Squad, I jump in there one time, I beat it very easily. But yeah, he's really good. I have used him a bit, and mine's 55% in the new fight. The times I have used him, I have gotten pretty unlucky with him being locked into slot 1. He does not fare the best against normals there. However, if you do have him like slot 2, 3, obviously, after supering, very nice. Especially this is pretty crazy. Both Zamasu and Rose are Ki Blast supers. So if you're within the first 5 turns, this guy has 99% damage reduction and counters. So, 99% damage reduction. Even type class disadvantage against Rose. Obviously that's pretty hard to beat. So yeah, he's pretty good. He does good damage. I find him to be pretty consistent. I really like him. So, we do have Gotenks here at 15. Now, before we move on to 14, I just want to reiterate real quick here. This is how I view the top 15, but this isn't like the most serious thing. I'm more so doing this for fun, because I did want to actually sit down and visualize, because I wasn't fully sure how I viewed the top 15 until I do have I did go through this on my own before starting this, just so I fully, thought out what I thought about every character and their placement. But this is going to be very, very relevant to like this celebration specifically. And the reason I say that is I okay. Let me just pull up 14. I think Vegito. Oh, can I? There we go. Tech Vegito. Here, I can just close Gotenks out. Now I know this guy got his EZA during the 8th anniversary. I'm not. Oh yeah, he's still good from that. No, I'm not saying that. Right. The thing is here, and I suppose I should probably try to remember to put this on the screen. These temporary boosts are like actually so insane. The ones we had before, leading up to the 10th anniversary, I mean, they were pretty fun. They were pretty decent. You know, I used them in a bunch of the content. They weren't like the most like end game material, but you know, I had a lot of fun with them. They were decent. So what I'm trying to say is these boosts are like different. They're a different breed. While those ones are like fun, these ones are like absolutely cracked. And I say these ones because I do have Rose on here too. I mean, when I'm using Vegito, you know, I have the showcase for both of them, and I've been using both of them quite a bit. I mean, in the newest fight, Vegito isn't the best. I mean, if there's luck, he's not going to be the best because he does need to be slot 3, at least for his first turn. You know, because you got to float him off, so he can transform. Where once he's blue, obviously that's where he's really cracked. But like I'm using these guys, and they're just doing so much damage, while also getting so much defense. Now, Rose's on here too, and I actually he's not next, so I'm just talking about them both vaguely right now. But Vegito, I mean, while he doesn't get to the point where he can like tank a Rose super or anything like that, I mean, he gets up to a decent, you know, 5 some odd mil defense, I think. I haven't done like actual calcs on him. I just like, while I was playing him, did it like in my head, and I'm pretty sure that's vaguely where he's around, with a great chance to dodge and throwing out like a, you know, the 40 into all these 30 mil supers. Like it, he actually does a ton of damage while also being very, very tanky, while also having a great chance to dodge. Like I genuinely think that while this is probably only going to be a thing for like another, I don't know, month or so, while he's here for this month, I think he's really good. All right, now next, I do actually want to, and you know what? Honestly, I think this list might be a decent bit controversial. We'll see. I do actually have Janemba next, as 13. So Janemba obviously did Easy A with last Worldwide at the very end. I wasn't the biggest. I mean, the kits for the new LRs were all like extremely insane last Worldwide, but besides that, I think the celebration wasn't the best. But I mean, when they did this sort of content with the sort of Gogeta and Janemba fight, and the Gogeta and Janemba Easy A's at the very end, obviously it was really good. Now, I think Gogeta has, I mean, he's in a rough spot right now. Unfortunately, but I think Janemba is still like really good, especially because of the new fight. I've actually used Janemba quite a bit in there so far, and he's been very good for me. Now that sort of I have found, and this is also, you know, I've been running him on like Glorio's lead, so he's on a 170 for example here, and a lot of these times he's not having like big bet bosses. I found before he attacks on his first turn, he can take damage from normals. But after he's built up, as long as you haven't like hit Rose with anything but an attack lowering attack, he actually is very tanky against the normals. You know, he does have the guard, the 22 plus the 22% damage reduction, right? And then also, very important, he has this. When receiving a Ki Blast Super, great chance of nullifying. When receiving a Super, high chance of evading. So when Zamasu and Rose target you, you first have a 70% chance of nullifying the attack. If you fail that, you then have a 50% chance of dodging the attack. And while it is possible to fail both of those, I have only had it happen to me once. Otherwise, he's actually been a very reliable character in there. So I genuinely think he's really good. I also I haven't been able to take advantage of it, but I mean, the rage mode could genuinely, at least for me, you know, if I have some luck with some of my other characters, you know, other than Janemba, I I think this rage mode could be the way I win finally. If my other dodging characters would actually dodge, he's actually pretty good with the dodge. He's like I said, there are characters where even though they are dodging characters, I've had a decent bit of luck with them still. He's one of them. So I do really like him as 13 here. And now for 12, I do actually have Rose. Now, I've been using Rose and like he I honestly I've thought I even when I made the tier list thing here, I have really thought about like just moving him up. Now, the thing for Rose, though, is obviously he is glued to the new Carnival LR. And where he really, really pops off is when you have that support up, right? And obviously, oh, well, let me close this out. Obviously, this passive, you know, this kit is not 2025 material. But it's here, and once again, I'll try to remember to put the thing on screen, the actual buff. But him and Vegito both got such a huge limited time buff, which I think it is really stupid that they don't just like show it to you in game. They do need to do that. I really do think so. But when I've been using Rose, I mean under like double Carnival LR Rose active, you get like a triple super. This guy can genuinely like peak out over 9 million defense. 9 million defense. For a character that easy 8 in 2023. I know this is a limited time buff, but I'm rating the characters how I view them right now. And I genuinely I think he's that good. I really do. Because he is the guaranteed crit right now. And he can get up to some 70 odd mil attack stat, right? Throwing out like double 40 mil. You know, double like 40 mil with a 70 mil. They're all crits. He has like over 9 million defense. Now, obviously, this is his best case scenario. But his best case scenario is essentially just existing on a team with the Carnival LR past turn 4. Again, I mean, it's not a hard condition to achieve. So he does a ton of damage. I mean, Super Bosses went from a shit team. Obviously, once again, I know this guy's limited time. But it went from a shit team to a really good team, and it's just like, it's so crazy. You know, I do actually find it, you know, I said towards the beginning, I think, you know, I think I said it in here, but it is actually, we do already have Fusion Zamasu's details, but he's not out in game, so I'm not rating him here. I think I actually, at least off of experience versus paper, I mean, we'll see how I like Zamasu in game. But experience versus paper, I actually think I might like this guy more. I mean, we'll see about that, but he's so crazy. I think they genuinely like 5-star, 5-star. All right, now I do have my final character for this sort of tier down here. We do have Beast Gohan. Let me close this out. I mean, this guy's definitely. I think he's starting to show his age, right? He definitely got a huge revitalization with the 10th anniversary. Being on the Vegito team was very, very crazy for him. Mine is 55%, by the way. So let me point that out. I didn't actually even get him during the 9th anniversary. I got him in November, something like that. But I have been using him against a lot of the stuff. I do find he is pretty good in the short content. I mean, he could definitely have some issues with the red zone sort of content. But the really good thing about Beast Gohan, at least for those 10th anniversary teams, is his sort of role was just to carry, especially the Vegito team. His role was to carry through the initial phases, where Vegito wouldn't be as strong, and then once you start to be able to get Vegito out, this guy gets to take a backseat. So I do really like how he buys time essentially for everyone else to build up. Now, admittedly, I haven't really tried him the most yet in the new fights, or I suppose the new fight. So I'm not sure what I think about him there. I mean, he has guard and he can get up to 80% damage reduction. Whether or not I mean, it's obviously it's gonna be most likely 60%, but he is pretty good. I do think though, he only has 250% phase 1, the 80% phase 2. He's definitely he'll tank the normals, but I think the supers, even with what he has, will probably kill him. Once again, I don't have a lot of experience with him, and mine is 55%, so that also is going to take away from how he performs, obviously. But I do think he's pretty good. Obviously the sort of taunt mechanic is still very, very good. I mean, the activation conditions are very easy. I think I still really like Beast. I don't know, maybe it's just bias from how good he was for making up for what the Beast list was, right? And also the 10th anniversary team. Like I said, I do need to try this guy a bit more. But for what I've used of him so far, I do think he's still pretty good. So I think he does make number 11 here. And now we're actually starting to get into the top 10 itself. And this is probably going to be this is going to be a long one. I'll try and move a little faster. At least once we get up here, I think it will be easier to move a little faster, because you'll see some of these same colors. Within the same colors, I do think the characters are interchangeable for me. So I think I can start talking about multiple characters at once. So it should make things pretty easy. That being said, though, well, next we do have Grade 8 Vegeta. Grade 8 Vegeta went from being, 0 to hero, essentially. His Easy A, when he released it, he was okay, but, it's kind of funny how they, sort of swapped. I mean, Kaioken Goku aged pretty fast, but he was pretty good on release. This guy was not that good on release. I mean, having them be Part 2 Yellow Coin LR Saiyan Saga, these guys are Dokkan Fest LR material, but having them be Yellow Coin LRs for Part 2 of 7th Annie really sucked. And then also, this guy not being as good as he was really sucked. Kaioken Goku aging as fast as he did really sucked. But on EZA, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, this guy's just cracked. Right? I mean, he has the guard, right? He has the 20%. Guess what? Actually, 60%. And then if you're running him where you should be with, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which admittedly, I mean, there's a lot of people that need Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but Super Saiyan 4 Goku is so good, you want to run him when you can. Obviously, when you have this guy next to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, 70% damage reduction, the massive support, You do have the Saiyan Roar Link that gives 10% defense. It's actually very decent in the Link phase. Like he's very good. He does pretty good damage. I feel. Very very good defensive wall. I actually haven't really tried him in the I've tried him a little bit in the new fight. I don't think he's the best in the new fight. That's why I do have him down a bit. I I think my number 9 spot's going to be very very controversial. But it's gonna really relate to how much I really value the new fight and battle hard infinable foe. I think that's the hardest content in the game, personally. So I rank characters myself, obviously based on my own experience with them in the sort of most hardest and most fun sort of events. That's essentially my vague criteria. But yeah, I mean this guy's really good. I don't think we need to talk too much about him. I mean he's very basic. He does what he does. The AoE for the new fight is he's not the best there. Building up Rose, you don't want to do that. But he is very good. So I think they cooked with him. But I don't. I think that serves for him. Now here we go. This I okay. Number 9. Number 9. We'll see how this goes. I have Ultra Instinct Goku as number 9. Now, this is like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of dodge characters right now. My luck has been very, very horrendous with them. But, I just, if you clown on this guy, I genuinely think you're probably just like tired of him. He's had such a long stay in the game, essentially since release. I mean, it's very crazy how, I mean, this guy's just been like usable forever. And it's just going to be a thing as long as there's short content that's not dodge canceling. He is going to become one of the best characters to bring into the fight. He has guaranteed dodge on his first turn. From then on, he has the 77%, which builds up 7% per, right? And if you're under 77% or less at the start of the turn, and any ally dies, guess what? You get a revive. So you have a character who evades mostly anything, at least for me. Once again, I can only rate all my experience. I mean, he's got caught every now and again, but he performs, I think, as a dodge character should. He's dodging everything, and once again, I really value, the new fight and battle hard infinable foe, which these are fights that really you can end turn 4, 5, 6, right? So it's like they are shorter fights. So this guy doesn't really have the biggest time to get caught. He's essentially invulnerable while doing a decent bit of damage, and also having the revive in his back pocket. I genuinely think this guy is very good. I mean, and after the revival skill is activated, he has the guaranteed dodge again. Like he's good. I don't. I hope that's not too controversial. I think it might be because he's in the top 10. But once again, it just I really view those short fights as the most difficult and the most fun fights in the game. So that's where I think he does rank. All right, next I do actually want to have Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I mean, Super Saiyan 4 Goku obviously very very strong. I don't really think I have had this guy get caught that often. I mean, it is kind of, I don't know. I don't know how I'd want like him in the new fight, right? Because he does need to sort of attack first, really, before he gets all of his defensive buffs. But obviously, being the godlike support, as long as you're in slot 2-3, being very good defensively, offensively, right? He does have the Great Ape in his back pocket, which decent bit of damage, buys you a turn of safety. And then, his base, he does have the great chance to dodge, right? And all around, he's pretty simple, honestly. He's pretty strong, but he's pretty simple. Dodge, damage, defense, support. Like, he's just, you don't need to do anything really convoluted for him. He's not even like a character that needs to like build up in his passive. I mean, he does stack, right? But it's the super attack effect. So you don't really need to do anything to get this guy's max power. I mean, sure, he needs ki, but he gets a huge amount of ki already, right? For every attack performed or attack received, you're getting more ki. Maybe on your first turn, and I've only found this very, very rarely with him, where you will not get 24 ki. But after that first turn, especially, I mean, this guy, I feel like you might be doing something wrong if you're not getting it. Like, at least for me, it is pretty tough. But and he has the heal. I haven't had this proc the most, but I mean, that's a very nice tool to have in his back pocket. So, I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku is still really, really strong. I don't necessarily think worse of him at all from when he released. It's just I do think that stronger characters have come out, so that he just gets pushed down from that naturally. I don't think he's weaker at all. And I also haven't really gotten around to trying him in the new fight, but great chance to dodge. I mean, dodging can be pretty, pretty not the best, but I'm not the most confident in how he'll fare in that fight, to be fair. But at least in all the other content, he's obviously very, very good. And even there, I mean, he does have the Great Ape and the heal. I would need to see more of how he'd be handling, for me, the AoE from Rose. But I've also been making a point in a lot of my runs to try and bring some attack lowering characters. Just like one turn of attacking Rose with attack lowering, I mean, sure, it builds up his super, but it pretty much erases the damage his normals do. And I mean, if everyone dies to the super anyway, like every super dodge or die, you might as well take the damage out of the normals, because I mean, the normals can catch you. So, all right, but I think that's pretty good for him. Next, I actually do have LRTN. I was actually very surprised by this guy. I did not expect him to like. They understood the assignment with him. I do think so. Just like on initial details, I'm like, oh, he's a slot 1 character. He's pretty good, but he can get caught sometimes when this goes away. I wasn't really thinking about when his details initially dropped how you're really supposed to use him, swapping him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, when you have one of these buffs up at all times, it genuinely is very, very strong. He is very, very powerful, especially in the new fights. I mean, he has this Ki Blast super attack counter, which obviously, that Rose super, it does some damage. So being able to just say, nah, you can't hit me, while doing a lot of damage, being fine against all the normals, supporting allies, right? Like, he does everything in the new fight. I think he's one of the better characters in the game for the new fight. I mean, he even has attack and defense lowering. Like, he genuinely feels like one of the better characters for the new fight. I wouldn't say necessarily the best character, but he's probably like a top 3, top 5 character to bring into the new fight. So he's really good. He's really fun, and he's also really good in the Battle Hardened from Old Foe, Red Zone. Once again, I mean, there's the Festival of Stacking, not stacking defense, pretty bad for there. Obviously, I mean, you need to stack attack and defense to be really valuable there. But I mean, certainly that fight is something to rate off of, but I don't know. I personally I don't really care too much about that fight. So I mean, even though he's not the best in there, I don't really I don't really care, to be honest. He's a god everywhere else, so they definitely cooked with him. Hopefully we do see Kid Goku and DKP for like New Year's celebration this year, because it'd feel really bad if we finally get all this OG Dragon Ball rep, and then we don't get those guys, because that means by the time we get those guys, all the OG Dragon Ball characters are going to be non-existent in the meta. So I really do hope we can see those guys at some point this year, but we'll have to see. All right, next though, I do actually have we're starting to get into the big boys, and I think I can honestly fill the next the next 6, 3 at a time, and talk about them in segments of 3. Although obviously I did make sure to point out the sort of color thing. I am going to pull up the next 3 here, but I do think there is a bit of a division. Alright, so that being said, I think I have the gods at 6, AGL Gogeta at 5, Super Saiyan 4s at 4. There's a lot to talk about here. So obviously, the gods, right, and the Super Saiyan 4s, both on their first turn, very insane, right? If they get locked slot 1, 2 in the new fight on their first appearance, you're in bad territory. But as long as you can, get this, you are able to rotate them off. I mean, even only 1 turn of stacking, pretty valuable to run them. I do think so. And then obviously Gogeta, right, does have his, if I was gonna say if it'll load, he has his counter, right? He has the damage reduction, and that's really the thing. I've always preferred Gogeta over the gods. I used to like Dodge a lot in the past, but even in the past, my sort of logic was, and this is honestly always been the case for me, I would rather have a character like the Super Saiyan 4s, where I know I'm taking a less amount of damage than risking a chance of not taking any damage, if that makes any sense. Right? So, I mean, you could say, let's say there's an attack, right? Where, the Super Saiyan 4s, they're going to take, 400,000 damage, guaranteed. But then there's the gods, who either would die to the attack. And I'm not saying this is going to fully happen in game, but I'm just explaining my sort of logic behind why I've always just preferred flat-out tanking. I prefer knowing I'm going to take that 400,000 damage than flipping the coin and being like, okay, do I die or do I take nothing, right? For me, especially in just like value of time, and also, I do find it to be a bit more fun to just flat-out tank. And it's more consistent, right? Like just across the board, I prefer flat-out tanking to dodging. And this guy also has the counter, so it's like, yeah, I've always found him better, especially post-ECA. Doesn't feel close. And then we have AGL Gogeta. Now, this character is very interesting, because I do think, especially in the new fight, I mean, both the 10th anniversary Dokkan Fest LRs are not the best on turn 1. And this guy especially, I still don't know what they were thinking with guard and guard. I guess you can run him in slot 1, like one turn, 2 turns. But like, why does that matter, right? Like, I mean, it's helped occasionally from like when there's locking. But is that why he has it? Just because if he gets locked in slot 1, like he's so weak defensively that if he's locked in slot 1, I feel like he dies most of the case anyway. So I've never understood why they gave him 2 instances of guard. He should have had damage reduction. He honestly should have been the he should. I mean, he's meant as the defensive LR. Gogeta is, whereas Vegito is meant as the offensive one. I get what they were going for with having them both feel very similar, but honestly, I don't really care all that much. I feel like they should have just made this guy. I mean, I feel like everyone says this, but I've been saying this. I feel like this guy should have just been, had the just been defensive. He should have been defensive at the start of the turn. But I will say I much prefer the sort of defensive form on Goku than I do on Vegito. I think this is the strongest of the bases for them. And that's with me not liking dodge characters so much, but I mean, he is at the 80%. I do find it to be very consistent. And, obviously he has the guard. If he does end up getting caught, right, he stacks the defense. He's just very good, very reliable. I really do like him. And also, it does really help that, I mean, this active, right, it's so crazy. I mean, all of these guys, oh, well, spoiler. All of these guys' actives are just, like, very insane. Like, once you get the fusions out, you're crazy, right? I mean, genuinely, like, I mean, it starts to get a little less so the more you go down, but genuinely, like, everyone in, like, the top 8 is just, like, they're, like, gods of the game. And it's, we're just in the, once again, why I have a top 15. We're in a time in Dokkan where, like, there's so many good characters where it doesn't really matter too much who actually is the top 10. Because, once again, I mean, up until the top 20, 25, damn near, I feel, you're going to be finding really good, really strong, consistent characters. So, at least for my part, I think that's really good. But I mean, once again, I mean, once you get like 8, honestly, probably maybe even like 7 up, because I mean, obviously he can get caught. He's meant as a slot 2 character pretty much always. But I mean, like TN up, honestly, like these guys just completely all dominate the game entirely on their own. Like you can build teams around these guys, and they will win it for you. So, well, I mean, besides like the new event, I mean, the new event is in a league of its own. But they will definitely help. But yeah, also for Gogeta, I mean, the active, I've used this quite a bit, obviously, for my stacking videos. I really like doing those. This makes the characters look a lot more powerful. I've had a lot of fun with them, so. Alright, well, I think you guys saw a little spoiler there. Let me just close these out, though. Alright, next, I'm going to get into my top 3 characters. And for that, I do think we have this. In this order. Now, I did say, once again, I do think characters within the tiers can be swapped. If you want to say Super Saiyan 4s, 5, in Gogeta 4, I disagree, obviously, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm like, I mean, sure, why not? I mean, I get it. The active skill is just so crazy for Gogeta specifically. I mean, the defensive form Goku is obviously very good. Like I get it. I don't agree, but I get it. And for these guys, it's really, it's hard to say who I think actually is number 1. This is just what I'm saying off of part 1, because I've had a lot of fun, with the new fight. It's I think it is the strongest fight in Dokkan history. And I have to view that really intensely. I do think so. Being the most fun and the most difficult fight, I think that means it's very valid to rate it over the others by far. And that, once again, is why, like, UI Goku, for example, gets into the sort of top 10 here, because I find that the how you perform in the new fight I do find to be the most valuable metric. Battle hard and formidable foe as well. Um, just a step down, but then Red Zone and then Festival, Red Zone actually, especially mission content, I do think that matters. But Festival, I guess you could say it matters, but realistically, you just bring like a really good stacking team in there, and you have like the oops in your characters, and you win. Like I don't. It's just the longest fight. I don't really think it's the hardest fight, unless you're bringing characters who don't stack in there, in which case, that's just kind of stupid. You're supposed to brain stack characters. But yeah, for Vegito, obviously, 90% damage reduction is very crazy. But you are locked into this guy until the 4th turn from the start of battle. Obviously, if you can float him off immediately, you do that. But if you're bringing him into the new fight, he's gonna get crushed. And that's why I have him at 3. Vegito obviously dominates every other fight in the game. However, the new fight, it's rough, right? It's pretty rough. So that's why I do have him at 3. Now, I do think once again, I really think you can swap these tiers as you wish. But for Goku and Rose, I think I do give Rose the edge for numerous reasons. And I'm going to admit, I do know there's my own biases in this, but I really do like his team. If you've been watching, you know I am a really big critic of the Super Bosses category. I have been bitching about Super Bosses for the last year straight. I think it was, while a decent idea for a category, the execution was absolutely horrendous, and AGL Broly was the wrong person to introduce it into the game. I do think so. Having it be introduced on a character like this, I think, is perfect. Because lack of synergy is a big issue with the team. Now, that being said, when you have this guy, right, you have his insane active, right, you have this support, right, you have the new clone team, you have Rose. Like, Super Bosses went from absolutely nothing to one of the best teams in the game. I really do think so. So I give that a bit of value. Because just fun. And whereas this, obviously Goku's team is really strong. Future Saga, Fuse Fighter with the Bond of Parent Child and Final Trump card. But I feel like we've been there, done that, right? Essentially. It's essentially just like the 10th anniversary, Gogeta Vegito team. And while the team is good, well, actually it's kind of like it's weird because it's a less broad, but probably overall stronger. Because everyone is getting the 220 on this setup. But I just feel like when you're running this team, you're just running the same characters we've been running for the last 6 or so months. So I do give Rose an edge in fun. I give, like I said, I've become less of a fan of dodge. So just being able to outright tank, I do prefer. Right? I do actually like how Goku just has the additional super in here. But I suppose it is worth noting that, you do need the guard, I suppose. I was going to say, Goku's is fully restricted, but, you want to get Rose's restriction anyway, obviously, the guard. But, I don't know. Overall, I find him really fun. I find his active to be more impactful. I do think Zamasu, while there's not the biggest opportunity right now, at least, to use him, I think the few times that you can use him, when you're under the HP threshold, he will be very insane. The full heal, a lot of damage, a lot of defense. I think that is really good. But I do think for, honestly, both of these characters, Rose and the Tag Blues here, right now there's not the biggest point of actually exchanging into the other forms, which I do find pretty unfortunate, honestly, because obviously the big selling point of these cards is the tag, but they're both really insane. This guy's actually very often dodged for me. And the thing is, I mean, Rose can take a lot of damage from the uh, the LR Rose. Well, not the LR Rose, but the special battle Rose. He can take a lot of damage from him in certain situations. Mine is 55%. But even like the Rainbow Friend I've been breeding, I mean, it depends if you gotten lucky with a lot of the lower attacks by the time you're actually getting hit by him. But he can take damage. But I once again, this was really, maybe I should have explained this point with these guys instead of using the Super Saiyan 4s and the gods. But I do prefer being able to outright tank, even if I'm going to take a lot of damage, as opposed to risking taking no damage. But if I do get hit, I'm just dead, right? So I mean, this is more for my gameplay style. I find the team to be a lot more fun. I mean, he's supporting a lot, right? He's a very I mean, he brings a team completely out of non-existent to, I think, being one of the better teams in the game. Whereas this guy, he's good, but he's more selfish, and he's really just bringing a better setup for already good characters, right? So I don't know. I prefer Rose as one. But overall, honestly, like, all of these characters are really insane, I do feel. I mean, I could honestly make a top 20, top 25. And obviously, we don't have, like, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or, Khalifa. I'm not the biggest fan of this character, but they definitely have their value. Namagoku, Tech Broly, there's Full Power Frieza, where, yeah, there he is. Got Goku, right? There's a lot of good characters, that we haven't really talked about. That I don't have them on here. So I mean, it's not the most important top 10 anymore. I mean, but I want to do this for fun. Like I said, I'm not planning on doing this the most often, but I was actually curious myself about what I thought about all the characters currently. Because I mean, obviously it's a lot easier to know that once you have this sort of tier listing in front of you, and I just wanted to explain sort of all my thoughts. I'm pretty happy with this overall. I mean, once again, this is more for fun. If you don't really like the list, I'm sorry, but it's not the most serious thing for me. I do feel at least decently confident, and I would say how all these guys rank. I mean, UI Goku is obviously up here just because of the new fight. And Battle Hard and Formidable Foe. But I mean, I know there's a lot of people who he frauds out for. So and I have my issues with dodge characters once again. So I get it. But I don't know. He performs well for me. I am pretty happy with this overall. I would say. So I'm gonna end this here. Wait, real quick, actually. Once again, this guy comes out tonight. I'm not gonna update this for when he comes out. I don't know if he's even gonna make it. But even if he did, I'm not. I'll update this again. With part 2, probably. Maybe like a week and a half, some odd into it. Maybe I'll update with Tanabata, and then I'll update with 11th anniversary. But this isn't something I'm gonna come back to. Oh, there's a new Yellow Quinella. I want to do something for fun here, a little different. So here we go. This is that. But I suppose we can end this here. Let me know what you guys think about this. Like I said, I feel like this might be a little controversial, especially towards the bottom. But I'm not taking it the most serious. I am vaguely confident in my sort of feelings towards all these slots. So I mean, if you disagree, that's fine. At the end of the day, everyone's gonna have different experiences with different characters, and I mean, that's good, and it's also good for people to have different opinions. So you don't agree, I mean, it's whatever. But it was fun. So I'm gonna end this here though. I do have other stuff I want to record, and this has gone on for quite a bit. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.